you pick all those things up, please?
Mesopotamian. Are you videotaping?
Maybe.
Were like the Assyrians. You know, like 1 second. Oh yeah, an Assyrian king came to the throne, like just of the city with an army. It was just Assyria started as just a city. That was not even called Assyria, and so like the king didn't care about being fair. He just cared about ruling the world. He just wanted to rule the world. What he meant by the world is kind of like Mesopotamia a little. You know how big Mesopotamia is?
How big?
It's about like you know those islands at the Middle East? Like, you know, the Middle East that's like touching Egypt. Like, all that is Mesopotamia, and there's a tiny bit of Turkey.
Tiny bit of Turkey?
Yeah.
Okay, so then.
Now, Turkey was called Asia Minor at this time. So, like, okay, so the Assyrian king made an army and took over city after city. He had his own empire. But then after he died, he named his empire Assyria. He thought what he would name it, and he named it Assyria. That's how Assyria was called Assyria. So, and then, and then after he died, like his sons weren't as good, I don't think. Like the Babylonians took over, but then Assyria suddenly flooded the city of Babylon.
What?
And took over.
Whoa.
Really, I think they
Did that destroy the city?
Kind of. Kind of, yeah. I think it might have. And then the Assyrians, because they had a new king that was like the first who like conquered all these things, but then the Babylonians took over again, and then the Babylonians and the Assyrians like had this huge war. It was like Assyrian, Babylonian, Assyrian, Babylonian, and Assyrian again.
Wow.
And until the Babylonians got the Midianites.
So they were their allies?
Like, they got them to be their allies. And then they finally just, destroyed Assyria.
Oh.
And then that was the end of the Assyrian Empire. So now the Babylonian and the Median Empire came to go. And the Persian Empire, they were just sheep farmers. The Persians were really just sheep farmers. But then there was this guy who, they still had the king. They're mostly just sheep farmers. And there was this guy... He was the king's grandson, and the king didn't want and the king tried to kill him because he didn't want him to take his throne. So he didn't. And
did he kill him?
No.
Oh.
Actually, he has there's this story. Ancient ones like to make these legends about them in a certain type of way. Nigel kind of says it. I got this. Mom, I got this. And then they said that the maid that was told to kill him actually floated him down the river and it caught the sheep. So some of the farmers.
So he was a baby.
And then.
So it was Moses in the basket, like that.
I guess I could say so.
Yeah.
And sheep farmers got him. They had never had a child of their own, so they decided to adopt him.
They adopted the king?
No,
sheep
not the king.
Oh.
The king's grandson.
Oh.
Because he was in danger of being killed. Oh, and they didn't.
What's
exactly,
inside
I don't believe they knew. So I'm not sure if they knew. This is just kind of what they said about it. And then, he was raised to be a tall young man, and then when the king saw him, he seemed to recognize him a little. Oh, and then the guy that the king told to kill him, and, I think that guy, gave him to a maid to save it, and then, that guy got in trouble, and then the grandson became the king. Then he, got them into an empire, a really great empire.
Okay. So the grandson made it into an empire.
Yeah.
What do we talk?
Grandson became into the king like after the real king like died.
Okay.
And, I don't remember how because this was like a year ago the last time I heard this. So like and then.
You have a good memory, so you haven't heard this for a year?
No.
Wow.
Okay, and then like he when making an empire, he conquered Media. Babylon didn't really have a good king. He went away to live in the desert, and then his like grandson like had the throne. And he like just spent all the money on all his parties.
Oh no.
And feasts.
Oh man.
And so then like some Babylonians were actually opening the gates when like he came.
Oh my goodness. So they wanted to be taken over.
Their king was so
They didn't even put up a fight.
I don't think so.
They welcomed their conquerors.
I think they actually did. They actually had a real and like he was actually a very good king. He was like more like fair.
Oh yeah?
And their king was taking all the money.
Their kingdom was what?
Their king was taking all the money.
Their king was taking all the money? I thought you said he was a good king. Oh, the king before. I got you.
And he was just spending all the money on parties, feasts.
Oh yeah.
Remember?
That wouldn't be a good king.
So like they actually, and then like after he died, Alexander the Great. Not Alexander the Great. Greece. I need to go to Greece. We need to go to Greece now.
Well, we need to go to Greece now. What happened in Greece?
The
Spartans?
and the
Athenians?
And the Persians.
And the Persians. What'd they do?
Well, the Persians wanted to take over Greece. The Spartans and the Athenians are the two biggest cities and also like the strongest. So they kind of worked together to like get away the Persians. They actually won the war.
They won the war?
Maybe they actually just had better trained soldiers, and the Spartans had their soldiers very tough. Like they might just go to training when they were just boys.
They went to training when they were boys?
And the Spartans, it seemed like men were more important than them because the fighters were really like the important ones.
Yeah.
And like there's this story of it when like this boy was so hungry that he actually like stole a fox. And then like when soldiers came to talk to him, he put the fox in his shirt and he like talked him up. Even the fox was biting him on his stomach.
And he could just act normal when a fox is biting his stomach? Wow, that's self-control right there. So that's how self-controlled the Spartans were?
I think they got them so tough that they're like that.
Wow.
So it was known for its toughness, and I think people were afraid of its armies.
I could see why. They don't even cry out when they're getting bit by foxes. Huh.
And that was just a boy.
And that was a boy?
Yeah.
Wow. I can't imagine how tough the men were.
And the Athenians were more like a little more of a democracy one. And the Spartans also like follow the king on the absolute power, and the Athenians had more of a democracy. Instead of like fighting and stuff like that, they had more like art.
Art, yeah.
They had
a culture. A lot of culture. Like art.
Their culture was more like art. Spartans was more like war.
Gotcha.
So like they were and actually like there's a battle called the Marathon. The Battle of the Marathon. We have it in our 100 battle book.
Oh yeah.
It's against the Athenians and the Persians. Why the Spartans weren't fighting? Because the Persians were going in like the city of like what's that? In the city of Marathon, that was really close to like Athene. And like where the Athenians lived at their city, so like they asked the Spartans for help. The Spartans had this like was having like this party, so they refused to come until the party was over. like the Athenians just gathered up their soldiers and came to the shore. And then when the Persians came, actually, the Persians shooted thousands of arrows at them.
Wow.
They kind of like charged through it.
They charged through it while arrows are raining down on them?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then the Persians charged at them, and then well, do you know what happened?
What?
The Persians tried to go through them to try to get them in half, but then they just made a sea around them.
Oh, that's a good tactic.
Okay, I learned this one from my battle.
From your battle book?
Yeah. And then I know that after they won the battle, they sent this guy to go to the place where they lived to show him what they had won. But I think after he told him, he died of exhaustion.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That's why a marathon today is called a marathon, because that's how far he ran, and then when he finally got there to tell the news, he died of exhaustion. I've heard that story before.
It's in Nigel too.
Okay.
And then now it's time for
Alexander?
Yes. So after that war, Greece became more exhausted from the war. So Greece became weaker, and then Alexander came. He was his father conquered Greece, and then his father was able to get him this war horse, which is afraid of its shadow.
A war horse that's afraid of its shadow. Why would you want that?
He wanted it because it was a black one, and he named it.
What do you name it?
I can't remember. This is a year ago when I heard it. And his horse actually has a very hard name.
Okay.
Okay, so today the place where Alexander is from is not it's just a regular country in Europe today.
Okay. Do you know which country?
I can't remember. I think it might have been somewhere on the Balkan Peninsula. No, not the Balkan Peninsula. On a peninsula that has Greece on the bottom or something. Might have it somewhere there. Or over it.
Okay.
So Alexander gathered up an army, and the Empire of Persia was huge. I can't remember. I think it was about as big as from Asia Minor, that's Turkey and the ancient world, to India or something. And it was as tall as it was wide or something.
As tall as it was wide. That's huge. Wow.
Something like that. So then Alexander actually conquered them.
That huge empire?
Yes.
Wow. He was amazing. You know he's in the Bible talks about Alexander. Prophesizes about him. Yeah.
Yeah, but his empire only really lasted for a lifetime. And then after he died, about 100 years later.
Rome? That's when the Roman Empire started?
Yeah, I think it was about 100 years after him.
So then old Romulus and Remus came along, or what?
I think they did. Nigel really only talks about the legends in that one thing. So the Roman legends was a bunch of the legends put together. I think it was kind of the Persians when Romulus and Remus were going to be killed, so they were sent down the river. But then wolves found them, and they made them get their own cubs. And then years later, a farm, this man found two baby boys playing with the wolf cubs. He took them and adopted them because they had no children, him and his wife. And then both of them chose to be Romulus and Remus and strong. And then they went to the same place where they were found by the wolf so many years before. And they found three hills. And then they said this would be a perfect place to build a city.
Mm-hmm.
So like they started it, and Romulus declared himself the king, and then Remus was like making fun of it. He's like, "What's this wall? Anyone can climb out. How do we keep the city safe?" So like Romulus was so mad they drew a sword and charged and killed Remus.
Wow. Guess don't make fun of Romulus.